Today, we will discuss the topics, verses, calculations, and interpretations of Chapter 47 of Parashara Horashastra, namely Raja Yoga and Sangharsh, the effects of planetary conditions. You know, the sage Parashara is asked a very direct question by his disciple, enlighten me with the effects of dasas. And our focus today is strictly tethered to answering that exact inquiry, using the original source material. No generic filler, just a direct, documentary-style exegesis of this incredibly profound work. So here is our roadmap for today's explainer. We're going to start with a quick recap on the types of conditions, then hit the rules of planetary effects, timing via drekanas, the specific effects of both the Surya Dasha and the Chandra Dasha, and finally, we'll wrap up with the practical significance of all this. All right, moving into Section 1, a quick recap on the types of conditions. To truly understand the specific effects of Raja Yoga, which is essentially royal union or immense success, and Sangharsh, which translates to struggle or friction, we really need to bridge back to the timeline we established in our previous explainer on the secret of time. The maturity of astrological events is intrinsically linked to specific units of Vedic time. For instance, a Muhurta represents 48 minutes, a day naturally consists of day and night, a Ritu is a season, which is about 2 months, or the time required for the sun to transit 2 zodiac signs, and an Ayana is roughly 6 months, basically the time it takes for the sun to complete one northern or southern course in the zodiac. Recognizing this timeline is absolutely critical, right? Because it literally dictates how we measure the maturation of the effects we're about to study. And this timeline applies directly to specific dasha systems. The Chaturashiti Samadasa, for example, operates on a 12-year planetary cycle. It's calculated by counting from Swati to the Janma Nakshatra and dividing by 7. Meanwhile, you have the Dvis Saptati Samadasa, which assigns 9 years to each of the 8 planets, calculated from Mula and divided by 8. So grounding ourselves in these mathematical structures is totally essential before we jump into the qualitative effects described in Chapter 47. Which brings us to Section 2, the rules of planetary effects. In the very first verses of this chapter, Sage Parashara outlines a fundamental foundational rule. He says there are 2 distinct kinds of effects of dashas, general and distinctive. The text dictates that the general effects are caused by the natural characteristics of the planets. Think of it like this. A naturally fierce planet behaves fiercely. A gentle one behaves gently. It's their baseline nature. But the distinctive effects, the real, unique realities of an individual's life, well, those are realized by their specific placements and conditions in the chart. Now for Section 3, timing through drekanas. To determine exactly when within a dasha a planet is going to manifest its unique Raja Yoga or Sangharsh, we have to look to the drekana. If you're not familiar, a drekana is a precise 1/3 division of a zodiac sign, which is equivalent to 10 degrees. You absolutely need to grasp this concept to understand the calculation rules laid out by Sage Parashara here. Essentially, the placement of a planet within a specific drekana of a sign acts as a chronological timer for its effects. Okay, according to the source text, if a planet is in the first drekana, its effects are realized right at the commencement of the dasha. If it resides in the second drekana, the effects are felt in the middle, and if it sits in the third drekana, you're going to experience those results at the very end. But here is the absolutely crucial calculation rule. If the planet is retrograde, the effects manifest in the exact reverse order. That means a retrograde planet in the third drekana yields its results at the beginning of the dasha, and one in the first drekana yields them at the end. This mathematical reversal is just a masterful nuance of Vedic timing. Let's dive into Section 4, the effects of the Surya Dasha. Verse 3 details the specific effects of the sun's dasha. Now, to truly understand the depth of these ancient words, we're going to execute a multi-layered academic breakdown of this exact text to extract its full meaning. So we'll walk methodically through a complete exegesis of the Surya Dasha verse. Step 1, parsing the Sanskrit fragments. We identify terms that denote conditions of exaltation and foundational strength. Step 2, the literal translation tells us that the acquisition of wealth and government honors happen when the sun is in its own sign, exaltation, or kendra. Step 3, the astrological meaning confirms that structural placements tied to the 9th and 10th lords heavily magnify these results. Step 4, philosophically speaking, this represents the soul's karmic maturation into a state of true authority. And finally, step 5, practically, This provides the modern astrologer with a definitive checklist to predict a period of major career elevation versus, say, one of obscurity. The contrast detailed in the text here is absolute night and day. When the sun is placed in exaltation, its mula trikona, its own sign or friendly sign at the commencement of the dasha, the text promises highly favorable results. This is your Raja Yoga, a royal union of circumstances. Conversely, the text explicitly states that if the dasha lord is in the 6th, 8th, or 12th house, in debilitation, or in an inimical sign, the results are highly unfavorable. That is sangharsha, systemic struggle, friction, and obstacle. Digging a bit deeper, the text actually provides highly specific material and social impacts for a powerfully placed sun. If it's associated with the lords of the 9th or 10th houses, it promises the acquisition of wealth, great felicity, and honors from the government. If the sun is associated with the lord of the 5th house, the native will be blessed with children. And quite specifically, it notes that if associated with the 2nd lord, the native will acquire elephants and conveyances, which, when we translate that into our modern context, means you're looking at high-end luxury vehicles and substantial liquid wealth. Next up is Section 5, the effects of the Chandra Dasha. Verse 4 dictates the rules for the moon's period. By anchoring our analysis purely in this source material, we ensure we avoid any modern dilutions and study the truly authentic Horoshastra. Let's reapply that rigorous 5-step translation methodology to unpack the Chandra Dasha verse. The Sanskrit parses the moon's state, whether it is full, exalted, or waning and afflicted. The literal translation promises opulence, glory, and auspicious home functions from commencement to end if that moon is strong. Astrologically, associations with the 4th, 9th, and 10th lords are the key catalysts here. Philosophically, a strong moon reflects a deeply nourished and stable mind, one that's fully capable of receiving life's bounties. Practically, it signifies a defined time frame where a person's emotional and domestic life will experience profound expansion and comfort. Now, the duality of Raja Yoga and Sangharsh is even more pronounced with the moon, simply due to its natural waxing and waning nature. The text clearly contrasts a powerful moon, exalted, full, in a kendra or trine, which brings immense opulence, against a waning moon associated with malefics or in debilitation. A weak moon brings great distress, wrath, separation from parents, ill health of children, and deep physical pain. The luminary's condition literally alters the entire lived reality of its dasha. Looking at the specific worldly benefits promised by a powerful Chandra Dasha, the text is remarkably detailed. It states that if the moon is fully powerful and associated with benefics, there will be a true dawn of fortune, the attainment of a high position in government, and really auspicious functions at home. It even specifies the acquisition of clothes and cattle. Furthermore, if such a powerful moon is located in the 2nd house, the text guarantees extraordinary gains of wealth and luxuries. And finally, Section 6, Practical Astrological Significance. Having calculated the drakanas and examined the exact effects of the sun and moon, you should really take away this central truth. The text demands a dual analysis. The synthesis of a planet's natural characteristics, its general effects, combined with its specific positional strength, its distinctive effects, is what dictates the ultimate reality of any dasha. This is exactly why the rules regarding the drakanas and retrograde motion matter so incredibly much. They are the fine-tuning dials that determine exactly when the majestic results of the sun or the emotional extremes of the moon will actually materialize in an individual's timeline. So, this brings us to a rather profound, research-based question to challenge your understanding. Based on the complex rules of Chapter 47 we've just covered, does the mere presence of a single exalted planet guarantee an uninterrupted Raja Yoga? Or does the intricate secret of time, governed by drakanas, retrograde motions, and subtle affiliations, demand that inevitable periods of Sangharsh must also arise? Well, the answer lies in the realization that the mystery of time remains in continuous motion. A chart is not static. It's a dynamic, ticking clockwork of conditions. True mastery of the Horoshastra, exactly as laid out by sage Parshara, requires constant objective observation of these varying planetary states, without any bias. This deep dive into Chapter 47 has illuminated the mechanics of Raja Yoga and Sangharsha, providing you with the critical foundation needed to analyze the intricacies of the remaining planetary dashas.